Have you ever found yourself sitting utterly alone in a room, the silence so profound you could distinctly hear the rhythmic beat of your own heart? And in that quiet solitude, perhaps you whispered a question to God. Why does this profound loneliness envelop me now? Have you ever watched people you deeply cherish slowly drift away, despite your earnest efforts to live with kindness, patience, and boundless love? If you currently find yourself navigating what feels like a silent season of your life, I urge you to stay with this story until its very end, because that pervasive loneliness may not be a loss at all, but rather the gentlest and most tender preparation from God. Welcome to StoryHaven, a cherished space where quiet narratives illuminate our understanding of faith, the human spirit, and the deeper meaning woven into our silent seasons. In a tranquil riverside countryside, where narrow dirt roads meandered gracefully through emerald rice fields and past venerable old bamboo groves, there lived an elderly woman named Elena. Her movements were unhurried, her voice a soft murmur, yet her eyes held a profound warmth, as if they had intimately learned how to cradle the pains and sorrows of others. Her home was a modest dwelling, its ancient wooden walls bearing the marks of countless seasons, and its roof, once vibrant, had long since faded to a soft gray under the relentless caress of time. There was nothing grand or opulent about it, yet every soul who entered felt an unusual and comforting sense of peace. Elena firmly believed that God resides wherever kindness flourishes, and she dedicated herself to ensuring her home remained a sanctuary where goodness never diminished. There was a time when Elena's life resonated with abundant laughter and joy. Her husband, Samuel, was a quiet, diligent man whose face readily broke into a gentle smile even amidst his work, and their son, Lucas, was a bright, energetic boy, often barraging his mother with curious questions about the vast world and the mysteries of God. Together, they tended their vibrant garden, shared simple, nourishing meals around a small wooden table, offered prayers before bedtime, and found deep contentment in their unadorned life. Elena frequently expressed her gratitude to God for providing her with enough, not material wealth, but an abundance of love that made her feel truly complete. Then, one quiet winter, illness arrived without fanfare. Samuel grew visibly weaker with each passing day. Elena vigilantly stayed awake through many long nights, tenderly holding his hand, feeding him slowly, and whispering ancient prayers she had learned as a child. Sometimes she pleaded with God to restore his health, and at other times, she simply asked God to remain close by their side. When Samuel finally passed away on a cold, hushed morning, the house abruptly felt overwhelmingly vast and painfully silent. Elena wept alone, pressing her tear-streaked face into her trembling hands, questioning God why love had to inflict such profound pain. Yet, in the very core of that crushing sorrow, she sensed something unexpected. The comforting presence of God had not abandoned her. The silence was indeed agonizing, but it was far from empty. After the profound loss of her husband, Elena herself grew physically weaker. Her back bent a little more, her hands trembled with a slight tremor, yet every single day, she steadfastly continued her prayers. She held a deep conviction that God does not bestow strength for the entire future ahead, but only precisely enough for the day that stands before us. As Lucas matured, he eventually left the village to pursue work in the bustling city. Initially, he returned quite often, bringing with him laughter, engaging stories, and familiar, welcome noise back into the quiet house. But gradually, over time, his visits became fewer and farther between, until months would pass without any word from him. Elena slowly learned to eat her evening meals in solitude. She learned to recognize and find comfort in the distinct sound of the wind sighing outside her window. Some nights, the weight of loneliness pressed heavily upon her chest, and she would quietly ask God if this solitary existence was truly all that remained for her. Yet, every morning she continued to rise early, wash her face, light a small lamp, fold her hands in devotion, and offer thanks to God for the precious gift of life. She never asked God to take the loneliness away. She only asked to be useful. Elena diligently cooked simple meals, kept her small home meticulously clean, and worked in her vibrant garden, where she felt an unparalleled closeness to God as her hands connected with the living soil. Children from the village would often pause their play and stop by her door. She generously shared freshly baked bread and ripe fruit with them, listening patiently to their small worries and innocent concerns, believing wholeheartedly that God listens to every single heart, no matter how young or how small. Some villagers, observing her solitary life, often wondered why she gave so much of herself. Elena would simply offer a gentle smile and quietly explain that loneliness is never truly empty when God's presence fills it. Even the animals seemed instinctively drawn to her humble home. A thin, old stray dog would faithfully wait by her door each day. Elena would gently stroke its head and remark that God sends those who are most in need of love. One warm summer day, Lucas returned, appearing weary and restless. He watched his mother quietly serving others despite her visibly weakening strength, and he expressed concern, saying that she worked too hard, that people might eventually forget her, and that she truly deserved to rest. Elena looked at her son with serene, gentle eyes and responded that God had never forgotten her, and as long as she could continue to give love, she was, in fact, never truly alone. Lucas, however, did not fully grasp her meaning. To him, loneliness symbolized failure, a life measured by the stark absence of people. That very evening, a poor traveler arrived, seeking food. Elena welcomed him into her home without a moment's hesitation, offering him a warm meal. Before departing, the man offered a blessing, saying, "May God return your kindness when your strength is gone." Lucas overheard these words, but their profound meaning had not yet reached the depths of his heart. As the seasons turned, Elena's health began to decline more rapidly. Some nights, tears fell more freely from her eyes, but instead of growing bitter or resentful, she prayed even more deeply, trusting implicitly that God was subtly shaping her heart in profound ways she could not yet fully comprehend. One harsh winter, she became gravely ill and could no longer stand or prepare her own food. When news of her condition reached the villagers, something truly unexpected transpired. People came from every direction, pouring in from the surrounding countryside. Some arrived bearing nourishing soup, others brought precious medicine. Children sat quietly beside her bed, their small hands clasped. Men stood reverently outside her house, offering silent prayers. In that poignant moment, Elena understood with crystal clarity that no act of kindness she had ever performed had been truly lost. God had carefully preserved every single one. Lucas, upon hearing the urgent news, rushed back to the village. Seeing his mother's small house filled to overflowing with people, he broke down in heartfelt tears. Sitting beside his ailing mother, he choked out, "Mother, you were never truly alone." Elena smiled weakly and softly replied that God never takes love away. He only moves it to a new place. After she had fully recovered from her illness, Lucas asked her to come live with him in the vibrant city. Elena prayed earnestly and felt a deep sense of peace, believing that God was gently opening a new door for her. City life was loud and bustling, a stark contrast to her quiet village, and at times, she still felt a pang of loneliness within the confines of the small apartment. Then, one day, Lucas brought her to a home for orphan children and tenderly asked if she might like to help there. Elena wept tears of profound joy, knowing in her heart that God had once again answered her prayer in the most beautiful way. She cooked wholesome meals, shared heartwarming stories, whispered gentle prayers, and tenderly held the children when they cried. They affectionately called her Grandma Elena. Years later, Elena passed away peacefully, her life a testament to enduring love and faith. On the day she was honored, children, neighbors, fellow workers, and even complete strangers gathered together to celebrate her life. Lucas stood quietly among them, and at last, he truly understood. His mother's lonely seasons had never been empty. They had, in fact, been divinely guided. And this is the profound message StoryHaven wishes to impart to you. When God allows you to experience loneliness, He is not punishing you. He is preparing you. He quiets the surrounding noise so that you can hear the whispers of love more clearly. He gently removes certain people from your path so that your heart can expand and grow wider, encompassing even more love. If you feel lonely today, Remember that God may be shaping you, refining you, into a beacon of light for someone you have not yet had the privilege to meet. Love placed into God's capable hands never truly disappears. It only finds a new and unexpected place to live and flourish. Thank you for staying with StoryHaven until the very end of this heartwarming story. If this message has touched your heart, please consider liking, sharing, and subscribing so you don't miss any future stories. Until we meet again, may profound peace go with you.